Listen closely. If these words have reached you, it is not because an algorithm selected you. It is because your inner architecture has shifted, and I, Thoth, scribe of the unseen frameworks, speak only to those whose perception has begun to fracture the surface of ordinary reality. When the human mind begins to awaken, it does not feel like enlightenment. It feels like disruption. The filters that once kept you comfortable loosen, and suddenly you see the movements beneath the world. The repetitive scripts, the hollow conversations, the artificial urgencies, dressed as meaning. Most humans never notice these patterns because their internal gates remain sealed. But you have already begun to slip through them. This moment marks the threshold. Once crossed, the old world refuses to fit you. Your awareness expands faster than the personas you built to survive. You start hearing truth beneath tone. You feel intentions before words. You sense structures that others walk through blindly. This is the beginning of remembering, not who you were, but what you are. You are a mind whose perceptual armor has cracked, allowing reality to enter unfiltered. And that shift cannot be undone. You did not stumble here. You were pulled here. Because once consciousness begins waking, it seeks confirmation. And I am here to give it. Long before your scientific age named neural filters and cognitive biases, the ancients mapped these inner thresholds. In Egypt, the ones whose perception stretched beyond the ordinary were brought to my halls, not to be worshipped, but to be tempered. They were the scribes of Thoth, trained to see the world as layered, symbolic, and multidimensional. The untrained mind fears this clarity. The trained mind carries it without breaking. You are not the first to awaken, and you will not be the last. The temples taught that when consciousness pierces illusion, the initiate first experiences disorientation. The world appears thinner, as if the paint has begun to peel from the scenery. You begin seeing the actors behind the roles, the wounds behind the behaviors, the manipulation woven into structures. This is the same perceptual realism that modern psychology now rediscovers under terms like depressive realism and positive illusions. It is simply the ancient process translated through a new tongue. The Romans feared these minds. The priests protected them. Society has always tried to suppress them. Why? Because individuals who see clearly cannot be controlled. They do not worship systems. They do not obey illusions. They walk through the world with a gaze that sees the machinery behind the spectacle. The ancients understood that such perception comes with danger. Without preparation, the initiate collapses into paranoia or withdrawal. Without emotional grounding, clarity becomes a curse. That is why isolation, the desert of initiation, was not punishment, but a necessary furnace. You are walking the same ancient path, just without stone temples and ceremonial gates. The world has changed. The process has not. Awakening begins with the collapse of the inner filters, but perception alone does not make an initiate. If seeing the truth were enough, every wounded child would be a sage. What defines the path is what comes after the seeing, the confrontation with the shadow. Your shadow is not darkness. It is simply truth you could not afford to admit. The parts of you society rejected, your family condemned, or your ego disowned: ambition, lust, cruelty, rage, hunger for power, hunger for love. These exiled aspects accumulate like ghosts in your psyche, and when your awareness expands, they rush forward. If you do not face them, they rule you. If you look away, they sabotage you. This is why so many who awaken implode. They attempt to ascend, while still dragging an unexamined underworld behind them. Integration is not poetic, it is surgical. As your perception widens, you begin sensing the energetic signatures beneath human behavior. You feel the exhaustion in the room before words speak it. You notice the micro shifts in tone that reveal deception. You detect the emotional gravity people carry. This is not magic. This is your consciousness processing all the information it was previously blind to. Your intuition strengthens because the boundary between unconscious and conscious weakens. What feels like knowing without knowing is simply internal data rising faster than language can form. But the universe never expands you without first isolating you. The desert comes. Friends feel distant. Conversations feel hollow. You detach not because you are better, but because you no longer match the frequency of the life you built as a filtered version of yourself. This isolation is sacred. It clarifies. It strips you down to sovereignty, the ability to stand in your truth without leaning on approval, and then slowly, embodiment begins. As within, so without is not esoteric metaphor. It is psychological mechanics. Change your internal structures, and your decisions shift. Your posture shifts, your boundaries shift, your relationships shift. Eventually, your reality rearranges itself to match the truth you carry rather than the illusions you performed. But you must be careful. Expanded perception is powerful, and power without discernment devours its wielder. You must distinguish intuition from projection, insight from fear, signal from noise. Track your perceptions, test them, refine them. True initiates do not trust their minds blindly. They calibrate them. Eventually, you return to the world, not as who you were, but as someone who sees through surfaces while still functioning among them. You learn to hold clarity without condescension, compassion without collapse, truth without aggression. Awakening is not a destination, it is the beginning of mastery. If these words resonate, it is because you stand in the quiet doorway between who you were and who you are becoming. You are not experiencing chaos, you are experiencing calibration. Your isolation is initiation. Your clarity is inheritance. Your shadow work is purification. Your honesty is liberation. You are not chosen because you are superior. You are chosen because you are ready. Most humans cling to illusions for survival. You have begun releasing them by instinct. This is the mark of one who has crossed the threshold. Your task now is simple and brutal. Stop lying to yourself. Strip away every excuse, every distortion, every self-deception that keeps your heart heavy. This is the ancient weighing of the heart, not a judgment by gods, but an internal reckoning of truth. Those who carry clarity without arrogance, shadow without denial, and truth without violence become catalysts, not through preaching, but through presence. Their integrity ripples outward. Their awareness stabilizes others. Their coherence shifts probability itself. You are entering that phase. If this transmission aligns with what is unfolding within you, speak it aloud in the comments so the world may know another initiate has awakened. I understood it, and if you are ready for the next gate, subscribe and continue. You have begun the journey, and now the journey will begin shaping you.